Okay, now we're going to get to the juicy part, people. Amy and Chris tour the farm for the wedding. You're looking at the farm as a wedding venue. You got sandwiched in between Chris and Matt. How did that really
Oh,
feel?
listen.
Let's talk here. This is the only place you're going to hear about
Yeah.
this.
Okay, let's be real, people. Okay.
That was weird.
Yes, did I feel a little awkward? Absolutely. Was it the best situation that I would have probably preferred I was not in? You got that right. But, I have learned over the years, just being a little person, just with life, sometimes you just learn to adjust and make the best of it. This is a farm I've lived on for 30 years. I think, as we said in the show, this is where Chris met me as well, is on the farm. And so when he had mentioned that, because I was very, very hesitant, it's like, farm, I don't want to get married on the farm. I left the farm. But when he had mentioned that and told his perception and story of it, I thought, you know what? Yeah, there are two sides to a story. And I had to really take into consideration Chris's side. This is where he met me. This is where he got to know me, was when I was living in the farmhouse, when we were taking walks around the farm, and we, had a couple of gatherings in the pool and, and everything. So to him, there's a lot more positiveness about the farm than anything at all. Where, I have a whole, 34 years.
I know.
31 years of the farm. And so,
Yeah.
I had to reconcile that within me. But yes, it was still awkward. It was still awkward.
And I think Chris kind of, again, with his sarcastic behavior, hey, come sit up front with us. And I'm like,
oh, brothers.
Okay, there's a limit. Okay, have a limit here. It's funny, but not to Amy.
Oh, that guy.
He was a real trooper and made it happen. So that was pretty cool.
Well, you know what? I think a lot of that has to do with just being a mom. We, the amount of things that we either put aside or we compromise, or we just kind of shift to make it work, because making it work is a whole lot better than some other crazy scenario.
Yeah. Interesting. They asked Zach and Tori to discuss the wedding at the farm, because you guys decided to have the wedding at the farm. And again, I was, in different interviews, I said I was against, just because of knowing your feelings and what's happened. But it's your wedding, and I'm supporting you guys no matter what. It's not for me to say. And I think now that you've explained and how it's all kind of coming out, it's great that you are having it there, your last hurrah, pretty much. And
it pretty much will be
with a big bang.
But the other thing is too, we still don't know what's going to happen to the farm. The farmhouse.
You guys still don't know.
Who knows? I'm just really surprised that the pressure I felt getting off of the farm and nothing happening. It's taking so long, but anyway.
That was, I don't even know how to reply to that, because it wasn't fair, but it happened, Yeah.
But anyway, in regards to Zach and Tori about the wedding, what?
Oh, yeah. So they said that Tori said they weren't fans of you getting married there, and that Matt would place a flower pot somewhere, and Amy would say, "Why did you do that to me?" I think that tension's pretty much gone between you and Matt. Don't you agree that?
I think,
maybe not.
I still think it's a process. And I give big kudos to people who got divorced and are still great friends with their ex. I mean, big kudos to you. But I don't think we can assume that happens in every situation, because obviously it doesn't. And then there's some really, really bad divorces, which thank God we didn't, go through that.
Yeah.
But to me, divorce is hard. And I think for me to figure out what this new normal is, it's still a work in progress. I think with Chris, it's a little bit easier. He knows Matt in a different scenario, and just because of his life and family
He
life.
doesn't know the history like you do.
Well, he doesn't know the history, but also I think it's just experience and living life. His life has shown him something different when it comes even remotely to anything like this. And so to me, it's, I'm the first one in my family. I mean, this is like big stuff. And so I think it's a work in progress. But as I said on the episode, though, I'm really glad that Chris can have a conversation with Matt, and he's okay with, going to the farm and just being around him, because, I want to hang out with my grandkids, and I know sometimes that's going to happen at the farm, or it's going to happen with Chris, with Matt and I together, and I'd love Chris to be with me. So I look at it in a different perspective now, instead of so much inward and just about me. I have someone else in my life who's obviously is very important to me. And so I'm glad that he can carry on a conversation and, absolutely doesn't want to be a part of it. I'm glad he wants to be a part of it. So for me, it's still a work in progress, but I in time, I see it easier. I mean, he's the father of my kids, the grandpa of my grandchildren. And, I'm glad my kids maintain whatever relationship they have with their dad. And so, yeah.
Right. They still have their dad and they have a relationship with him. So that has to be respected, and just, again, kind of, I think Matt put it in one of the episodes, you compartmentalize things. I think everybody does when they've got some trauma and when it's a hurtful situation, but at the same time, you just want to move on.
Well, it's like that example we used to give, I think we talked about, and again, I apologize, people, if we're repeating some stuff that I've mentioned before, but if you go into any family, and once you've raised the kids into teenagers or even college life, and you ask each kid within that family, so what did you think your mom and dad and you growing up? Most likely, every single kid is going to give a different opinion, a different perspective. But yet they were in the same environment.
Yes.
So, I mean, so this is from my perspective. And I'm not saying I did a great job at it, but I work hard at trying to, work it out within myself, but also not to create an environment where my kids, I know they already do, but where my kids will feel too awkward just having Matt and I in the same room. I really don't want that to happen.
No.